Hey, yo, it's me, Pops Van Marmalade, and you're watching the Comics-Related Madness Network. Huh? So come get some. CromCon. CromCon.
Your favorite podcast is Critical Blast.
Hi, this is Tim TK, host of That Silverline Show on Tuesday. Join us at 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific every Tuesday night as we discuss pop culture and the joys of making comics.
Hi, I'm Dean Zachary, host of Silverline's Wednesday Wham, where we go beyond politics, beyond calculation, and beyond the big two. Join us each and every Wednesday. Don't miss out.
Hi, I'm Roland Mann, and I host Silverline's Silver Sunday. Join me every Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern as we make mine Silverline.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Silverline Wednesday Night Wham! Hosted by Scott Wayfield.
Good evening. I never know how to follow that up. Hello and welcome. This is Silverline's Wednesday Wham! I'm your host, Scott. I'm really here just to rein in the craziness, and I do a poor job of that. Tonight, we are talking about comics, comic books turned into animation. We will talk about that and probably fly off the rails hither and thither, left and right, but we will try to keep the conversation on track. Of course, thank you for joining us, and we welcome your comments and your questions, and they do not have to be related to the topic tonight. We would like them to be related to comic books and pop culture and somehow tie it into that. We like to introduce ourselves at the beginning and at the end because we are all independent creators working for independent comics, and we have our own projects here and there. We would love if you followed us, supported us. That is how we feed ourselves. We don't like to live on ramen noodles. Well, maybe some of us do, but that gets a little old. So follow us, support us, and however you can. I will start with introductions. My name is Scott Wakefield. I am co-creator and co-writer of an upcoming Silverline title called Steam Patriots. It is a steampunk American Revolution story told at least in 4 parts for now. If it's a smashing success, which we expect it to be, maybe it'll continue on and we'll create a whole steampunk world. And you can find me at Steam Patriots on Facebook and Instagram. And I'm also doing publicity for Silverline, so I'll give a shout out to some other channels that are featuring some of our creators. Even tonight, We don't want you necessarily to leave our show, but if you want to go check them out, that's okay, I guess. And I'll try to give those guys a shout out. Let's go. I'll go right over to Rory. He's right over there on my screen.
I just when you're way over there.
Okay.
I'm Rory Boyle. I'm also co-creator of Steam Patriots along with Scott there. You can find me anywhere you can find him. We're on Twitters and the Gram.
Twitter, I've neglected that. Instagram and Facebook, and we don't have a website right now because we lost that. Someone wants a lot of money for it, so we'll figure that out. We're on Silverline.
It's such a popular title that somebody came and stole it.
Someone grabbed it, and it was our own fault for messing up on that. Let's see.
We should say where we're all at too.
Oh, I forget. Yes, I'm in Western New York near Buffalo.
I'm in Jacksonville, Northern Florida.
All right. I'm going to go to Haley. And Haley, I'm going to say I blabber a lot. This mouth just blah. And we got a lot of people with a lot of opinions. And Haley, you're so nice and quiet and polite. Jump in, like wave your hands, okay?
You're rude.
Because I just shut up. Because last time we were just yakking, you were so polite, and I felt bad. So Haley, why don't you introduce yourself, and then through the rest of the night, let us know when you got something to say.
All right. Yeah, I'm new, so I'm still kind of shy and like. But yeah, so I'm Haley Martin, and I am the artist on an upcoming Silverline title called Bear. It is Bear with an instead of an R, and it's sort of like a Winnie the Pooh sort of thing, which it's a world of living stuffed animals, and their kid has gone missing, and they're kind of trying to figure out what to do next. So
cool. Yeah. Is that specifically geared to a young audience? Do you know?
I think it's kind of like I think it's it's like appropriate for kids, but
okay.
Maybe like people who grew up on that kind of stuff find it humorous and fun.
That's always like when I was looking for books for my kids, it was great to do the simple, but if it was a book that I could enjoy, because I'd have to read it about 11,000 times a day. I really like all of the Willem, the pigeon and Piggy and Gerald. If you don't have kids, I apologize, but those were good books, and I enjoy them. They're clever. So I get what you're saying. Hopefully it's something that we can enjoy. That sounds very cool. I'm going to go right below my screen is Sid, and she is coloring Trumps, so you can see her work. You'll see her work on the Kickstarter campaigns right now. Sid, go ahead.
Yeah. Hello.
And tell us where you are, and we'll tell. And Haley, we'll go back to you.
So do I go? Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, good. Gotcha. Hello, everybody. I'm Sid. Indeed, I'm the colorist for Trumps, the Kickstarter that's live right now. Go check it out. I'm talking to you from the other side of the world. I'm from Chile. So if the internet goes a little off, it's because I'm too far away or something. And well, the project is almost gone, and right now I'm gonna go a little more freelance. But of course, I'm gonna stay in touch with all of you guys. I'm coming in and out, so it's not like I'm gone. Of course, that's why I'm here, having a lot of fun here. I love being here.
Good. And you can make a shameless plug for yourself that you are available for freelance work, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm not getting paid. You're getting paid for saying there's a Kickstarter or something like that. I don't. So I'm going to take the chance to say, dude, I'm drawing for
I just keep getting these big checks in the mail. It's great.
I stopped cashing him. It's so tedious.
Oh, count all the zeros.
Let me fund myself with a couple of hundreds. That I don't have. That I need.
And so you're in South America, and that is awesome. And Haley, where are you located? Did you say that? I'm sorry.
I forgot to say that. I'm in Florida in the Daytona Beach area.
All right.
Right down the road.
Yep.
And down the road as well. Darcy Larson.
Shoot. Every freaking time.
We've been calling you Brent, so this is Brent Larson. And Brent, go ahead, introduce yourself.
My name is Brent Larson.
Is it?
It's nice to meet you.
Really?
I'm the creator and writer of the Silverline book, Kalis, and I live in Orlando, Florida. I also operate out of Orlando, Florida. And you can find me on brent.vector on the Insta.
And what's your day job, or one of your day jobs? I don't know if it's your only.
I am a filmmaker type. I work with a small production group called the Broken Phone Booth Productions.
Very cool. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Darcy. C. Michael Lanning.
Hi, I'm C. Michael Lanning, coming to you from the cypress trees and haunted bayous of southern Louisiana. I am currently the mad penciler on the Rejects project with our head honcho Roland Mann, some of which you'll see tonight as I concoct page 9. We're going to see somebody get into a hairy situation, and if you want to know what that means, stay tuned and watch. Also, check out the Rejects when it comes to you on our Kickstarter from Silverline.
Thank you, sir. I like that. I like that.
Oh
Wow.
yeah, I'm getting into it tonight.
You are into it. I just said I'm from Western New York, near Buffalo.
I can't. I'm not in a. I can't pinpoint the position I'm in. You can see outside. Well, you can't. You can see my blinds, but there's some trees. So
somewhere between a cicada and a tree, you'll find
Some
Michael.
mosquitoes probably as well.
Yeah,
I like that.
The cypress knees and the
and
clouds
last-
of mosquitoes.
last- certainly not least, Tim TK. Go for it.
I am Tim TK. I am the producer of the Wednesday night show. I am also the associate editor at Silverline, which means I handle a lot of scheduling for the website, and that includes our craft blog series, which I am the lead project manager of. I am also the writer / creator of Wolf Hunter, which art is somewhere around there, but look up for that next year. And thanks, what I do. Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you, everyone. And some of our usual faces that you see tonight are on other shows right now. Like I said, I don't want you to leave our show, but if you want to go watch later, you can not watch it not live. Indie Volt.
Watch us live, and then you can go and watch them on YouTube later.
Later.
Mm-hmm.
Indie Volt. Tommy Flormonti is over there. Tommy did inks on Trump's, and Thomas Hedglen. I don't know if I'm saying his last name correctly. It's Hedglen II. He did the pencils on Trump's. So we've got that's cool. The Tommy, Thomas, then Tommy, then Sid brought Trump's to life. It's really cool. Their work together has been fantastic. So they are on Indie Volt right now. I think that's the only Wednesday night show that. Oh, Roland is on another show, and he said the name like Blunderbuss or something like that. What was it?
I can't remember the name of it.
I'll try to find it. But I'll mention it again.
They're awful. I can remember either.
He doesn't go until 10.
Okay. So we share the love, of course. You know, any independent creator, and they're supporting us. They're putting our creatives on their show. So thank you to those guys. If you are a creator or if you have some web content that you would like to have one of us on, of course, we'd love to chat. We share your projects as well. If you're doing well, we're doing well. The independent world is growing, and we want to be part of that. We want to be part of the independent comic book family. So spread the word, share the love. Our topic tonight. We last week we talked about the good and the bad and the ugly of comic books that were turned into movies. We had great good examples. We had great bad examples. We have had great mediocre examples, and we fought over it. And if we lived closer, it would have been fisticuffs. We have examples that one person loves and one person hates. And the comic book world is so incredibly cool because it has spawned so many storylines and so many other formats. And we talked a lot about what makes good adaptations, what makes bad, and some of us like a straight page-to-page comic book to screen adaptation. Brent had a great explanation why he doesn't like that. He says a lot of times it doesn't make good movies, and sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. So we could have talked probably for 5 times as long as we did last week, and maybe we'll revisit that topic. But tonight it is comic books that have been adapted into animation. And so I'm going to take a break from yapping. And can you hear the coyotes outside my window? Does anybody else hear that?
I'm too busy listening to the birds outside my window.
Oh, I just thought that was my kids.
Yeah.
I'm busy with the cats. I guess we're all hearing stuff.
So, who wants to get started?
Well, before we get started, can we have someone share their screen if they're currently arting?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. I can show what because right now I'm working on a traditional piece, which is funny because it fits with the theme today. I don't know if you guys can see it, but I'm doing a Batman Ninja Turtle little picture here. I need to set the blacks, but I think it fits because last year came out the movie with Batman the Ninja Turtles. It's kind of my favorite Batman movie up to now because I love them both. So I'm making this one for a charity, and I thought it was funny that it fits the theme for today.
Yeah, we are going to definitely talk about Ninja Turtles tonight. Who wants to get us started? Who
Sounded
had?
like Sid was getting us started. I'm interested.
Was I?
The
Yeah.
Batman and Ninja Turtle one.
Are you a Ninja Turtle fan?
I am. I love Ninja Turtles. I grew up just having fascination for like animal warriors. So I watched all these the Street Sharks. I watched a huge fan, of course, Thundercats, but it wasn't so animalistic. Of course, Ninja Turtles, and just any other like show or cartoon based on like animal warriors or animal heroes for some reason. I was very into that. Of course, that included Disney or anything. But Ninja Turtles was for me like the best because they were brothers. And since I have 3 other sisters, so I was like, hey, that could be us, you know. And each of us had like a favorite turtle, and me being also a weeb, they were like, hey, there are these ninjas and stuff. So they were always fun for me. Not to mention that they were meant to be relatable since they are teenagers.
Right.
And it would be many, many years in the future when I would learn they came from a comic book. Actually, I met Usagi Yojimbo before I knew the Turtles were a comic because I saw a crossover and it was like, hold on, what?
Yeah.
These are where they come from? Yeah, it was just very, very, very something. And I don't know, I just started reading the comics not long ago either, because I was like, I'm fine with just the cartoons. I think they're perfect just how they are. And I think it was last year when I was in my last year over there in the States, and I gave myself the chance because I saw some of the covers for Batman and the Ninja Turtles, and I thought, that's a very interesting crossover I want to read. And it got me instantly. I fell in love with the whole story. It's ridiculously awesome because it fits both sides. You see this edgy side of Batman, Gotham, and his characters, and then these other guys on mutants everywhere. And just to make it better, they come out with a movie, which was a very nice summary of what happens in the comics. I was just really happy with everything. But I don't know if it's the best book. I don't know if it's the best movie. I just love it. And I've watched that movie like 10 times. So it's a perfect mixture of the seriousness, badass hero story, and this random shenanigans with these teenagers that have to be turtles, and it's puns everywhere, and this pizza in the middle. And it was great. And now I'm waiting for the next animation coming from comics. But it's kind of related because last year they announced that Usagi Yojimbo is getting animated. For me, they're like tightly related because they kind of grew up together. So I'm also waiting for that and super excited about that. I have no idea what it's going to be about, but I really, really want to see what comes out with this Samurai Rabbit. Let's see what happens with that.
Yes. Usagi Yojimbo.
I love Usagi. I have dozen, even repeated books out there because I love it. And that is my favorite comic book, I guess.
Yeah, when I was coming up, you had him with the Ninja Turtles. You saw him with the Ninja Turtles, and it took a while before I realized he was actually a separate entity long before the Turtles came along. So that was...
because more than once in the series, Usagi were here there, like as a special character or something. So it was easy to assume he was part of the series.
Right. He just fit
And then
in
he
so
comes
well.
aside. Yeah, at least because the authors have been friends since forever, and they just like, hey, can I draw him to you? Ah, sure. Okay, let's do that. And I love that. It's so friendly. Look at that.
Everyone being nice to each other.
We
Well,
need that unity.
the episode, there's one of the books with the Usagi where you get the first crossover with the turtles, and the episode is called Turtle Soup and Rabbit Stew. And I thought that was hilarious, and it's a really funny story, actually.
Now, yeah, I Ninja Turtles was my cartoon as well. I loved it. And I think with the episode we talked about toys, the Ninja Turtles toys, I had over 40 action figures, and that I loved that show. That was it. That Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. My brother and I would sing the song, and
drive your parents crazy.
Yeah. Totally into it. Loved it. So, I mean, is anyone disagreeing that's going to be like high on the list of one of the best comic books?
I'll disagree.
It's going to be one of those kind of shows.
Okay.
All right. Okay.
Whatever Scott
let me
likes,
tie my hair up.
I'll
I'm
have
ready
to
to
be the
fight.
antithesis.
Ready to fight.
Which incarnation are we talking about? Are we talking about the 80s one? Are we talking
I'm
about
talking 80s.
Exclusively the Michael Bay movies.
No.
They were animated poorly.
The thing is that one of the reasons I like the Turtles is because they adapt to every generation. If you watch all the different series, they all targeting the different youths from each decade. Because I saw the latest one, and it's great, but it has a humor that it's not my humor. It's my little sister's humor, but it still makes it a really good series, you know.
Yeah, I love the first Ninja Turtles movie with the Foot Man and all the teenagers stealing like tube televisions, arcade games, and stuff.
It's great.
A rash of crime has struck New York City.
Did you ever catch it? Kevin Eastman's cameo in there?
No, I didn't know.
It's the scene where they're fighting on the street, and you see a garbage truck come up from in the very, very back. Yeah. And you can just kind of see Kevin Eastman's. He had curly hair, so you can kind of see his hair.
Okay. Yeah, that's another movie that I watched a million times, and my mom didn't like it because when Raphael loses his sai, he drops it, and April O'Neil picks it up right before he can grab it. He says the D word a bunch of times. So my mom wasn't a fan of that. Darn, he says darn it.
I watch it in Spanish, so they curse in a different way. I don't know. My mom was like, "This is funny, but the suits make me nervous."
Right.
And there will be many years in the future when I was like, I think I know what she's talking about. But as a kid, for me, they were and later they appeared in Power Rangers, so I was even happier. I didn't even care. The same suits. They recycled the suits.
Right.
Wow.
Same weird foam. Who knows what that? Yeah.
The thing about the Turtles, that's what I grew up with was the '80s one, and but when I get older and I had kids, they had the Nickelodeon version.
Yeah.
And that was actually pretty good in itself, because
the CGI one.
Yes. Because they didn't just abandon everything that had been built before. They kind of included a lot of things, including parts like the movie, like them going out to the woods and stuff like that. So that was kind of cool. They're able to.
I remember the phones. Even the phones would have like the old song and stuff. Like they would do a lot of cameos of the old stuff.
Yeah,
like they were conscious. They were in the '80s, kind of a thing.
Yeah,
I respect that.
I think they even had that might have been another one of the series actually had the '80s Turtles come on. I can't remember if it was that one or not, but to see all of them kind of mixed together with the different art styles, because not one of them have the same art style at all.
Huh.
I like watching all the old cartoons. When I say old, I guess for this crowd we're pretty consistent, but like the 80s and 90s cartoons and hearing the same, like, seems like dozen voice actors. It's like they had the same voice actors in Ninja Turtles and X-Men and Batman, and it was the same. And they were in every other cartoon, either a major character or just some voice in all the.
There's one thing I'm sure Roy would probably also appreciate this, but looking up the voice actor Sam Riegel and seeing how much like percentage of your childhood he makes up. Oh, I lost audio. Yeah, all of it. Yeah.
He looks pretty good.
Who's that? I'm sorry. Learn me.
Yes, please teach.
Okay, Sam Riegel. I had a weird like internet interruption there. We have rain and thunderstorms over here in wonderful Salami, Oregon. So if I drop out and kill the stream, be warned.
We'll blame you.
Yep. So Sam Riegel, voice actor. So we go here. Where's
This is
IMDb?
just good background for our upcoming D&D one shot.
Exactly. I hate how in Google when you pull up their things, it shows you the titles, but not the actual credit in it.
Actually did. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, look
So I'll give you this. So Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, he was in 2003 run. He was in Naruto Shippuden. My thing just cut out, so things are just great over here right now. We'll get back to you.
There's a bunch of recent video games,
Yep.
period.
Oh, okay.
He's in the show Critical Role on Twitch.
Okay.
He's one of the voice actors that plays D&D in that group.
Okay.
Yep. But he's been in a bunch of stuff from like 96 on.
Okay.
Yeah.
That seems to me like a dream job, being a cartoon voice actor. Like
cartoons, TV shows, or same diff, video games, anything.
And I know it's not easy. I don't mean to make it sound like it's easy. It's really hard work, but it just seems like you can be so many different characters, and you don't have to be a good looking person. You can show up in your sweatpants or whatever. And
so you're saying you found the new career path?
Exactly.
That reminds me of not the other day, it was like months ago, but you guys know what I mean.
The other day,
my roommate and I, we were watching an interview with Luke.
Mark Hamill.
Mark Hamill. Oh my God, I can't believe you forgot it. Okay, so it's an interview to Mark Hamill because they are interviewing his working process, how when he needs to make a new voice or whatnot. Mm-hmm. And as an artist, I thought it was really funny the answer he gives, because he says that he has this character, and for example, when he was about to audition for it wasn't Joker, but it was another character, and they tell him, the character is like this, is like that, and it behaves this way. And he's like, okay, so he goes into his mental portfolio, his voice portfolio, he called. So he has I have all these voices I've done in my life, and I choose in between. I start to try this one out. Oh no, maybe this one and this one together, and who starts mixing his voices. And I thought the way he was saying it was so obvious, so easy. Yeah. But I was completely shocked because first of all, it was all in his mind.
Yeah.
So I was just he has a portfolio, just how we artists have a visual portfolio, but he has everything in his mind. He knows exactly his voice has a whole set of how you say types and categories and his own voice and register to figure out what to do, when to say. I think that's amazing. Yeah, it's all over YouTube if you guys want to look at it, because he says much more about it, but that was what to stick with me.
That's
definitely a skill.
My voices would be a variation of my own, or really bad British accents that would be mostly pirate.
It was just talk like a pirate type.
Yes.
Sounds like SpongeBob cameos are in your future there.
My Mr. Crab and my Popeye are very similar. I don't know. Very similar. What? Hey, Haley or Brent, what do you got? Chime in. What's a great comic book that's been turned into an animated something that you enjoy? Who's got something?
Pick out Haley. Make her go first.
Yeah. Haley.
On the spot, improv.
Yeah. Well, one show that I really liked, it was on a few years ago, and like it just ran for one season and got canceled, but it was just called Green Lantern, the animated series. I don't know how many Green Lantern shows there've been, but this was like a 3D animated one.
I remember that one.
Yeah, and it was, and like I knew nothing about Green Lantern, but I was on Tumblr a lot during that time and following a lot of people who drew fan art for various things, and I kept seeing these characters pop up, and I was like, this looks really interesting. I'll watch it. And like I went into it, and like the show had already been canceled by the time I started watching it, so I was like, oh, whatever. But then by the time I got to the end, I was like, no, why did they end?
I remember really liking the characters, and like it was like a visit of the whole universe of the Green Lanterns, but I don't remember the story. I just remember their missions.
Yeah, I thought it was really cool because it didn't feel like totally like superhero-y. It reminded me more of like Star Trek or something, because it was like this.
Yeah, I remember that.
On a ship, like go visiting different planets, meeting different characters every episode, and like it was really fun. And I'd like heard of Green Lantern, but I didn't know anything about like how the powers worked. I didn't know that there were like one for every planet and there's different colors, and so I thought that whole universe was really cool.
So it was like an introduction for you.
It was, yeah. And then so I'd never read any of the comics, but then during a free comic book day at the shop that I was at, they had some like vintage comics for a couple bucks, and so I was like, oh, there's a Green Lantern one, I want to read that because I'm interested in that now. So that like the show got me into the comics. I mean, I haven't read a ton, but it gave me that interest in that.
2012 is what Google says. And it's got
I was watching in college.
Rotten Tomatoes had good reviews. I wonder why it got canned.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly.
You never know.
Usually,
it's a
usually it's because they don't sell like they want. Because for example, when they did the reissue for the Thundercats, it was really good, and they canceled it because it didn't sell toys.
Yeah.
But the series was really, really good. So I think that just didn't do good marketing, or I don't know what it is, but it was great.
Which
one?
Which one?
The new
the new Thundercats. Yeah, the latest one they did. It was like very properly built, a little slow because they were going like very step by step.
Okay.
But because it didn't sell toys, like literally that was the official reason. They said like it wasn't selling toys, so we canceled it. And I think if they had gone on, it could have built up so much more.
The one that kind of took place on the planet itself?
Yeah, and you see like young Leono. Yeah, and it's like the very beginning of things.
Yeah, that was a good one.
I really enjoyed it.
Seems like a trend. I did a quick search just to get a list of comic books that have been turned into cartoons. There's a lot that ran for 1 year or a span of 2 years, because it's back in the 50s, 60s, they didn't always have seasons. It's kind of hard to
they just threw it, right?
It just started in the middle of a year and went into the next year. So yeah, Fantastic Four, Superman in 1988, New Adventures of Batman in 1977, Marvel Superheroes 1966, just 1 year for lots of these cartoons. What I didn't know is that the Super Friends.
Oh yeah! Wow.
Sorry.
Oh, wow.
Super Friends 73 to 86. I didn't realize it was on for that long.
Yes.
Yeah, that's crazy. I remember watching those reruns.
Yeah, I never got it. I thought it was a little cheesy. I don't know.
Of course it was. It was on Hanna-Barbera.
I remember, I didn't see it, but I remember all the parodies on like the edits they would do in cartoon.
Oh yeah.
Like
I watched it while it was still on. It wasn't.
I was even bored.
I used to wait till Days of Our Lives were over, and then there you had your Super Friends and
Yogi Bear.
That's where I knew Green Lantern from.
Yeah.
I made Green Lantern with the Justice League series.
Mm-hmm.
And then I realized that the first Green Lantern was Hale Jordan. I was like, what? No. That's not no. He's a jerk.
Nope.
And then I realized there were more than one, but I was shocked. 8-year-old me was shocked.
Yeah. Brent, what do you got? You've been very quiet.
So patient.
This isn't my stronger subject, but I really enjoyed Batman: Mask of the Phantasm when it came out in the mid-90s, I think.
I will look it up.
And I think it's because it just had a really adult sensibility about it.
Yeah.
I was trying to think of why it stuck with me. I actually haven't seen it in a while. I was trying to think why it's kind of, my first thought was like, I can't think of very many examples of animated comic properties. Into the Spider-Verse was amazing. I almost want to say that is my go-to, but there was something about Mask of the Phantasm that did something that, frankly, I'm not sure any other Batman movie has done, which is it explains the burden of being Batman. There's just this really great scene where he's doing Batman and he's cleaning up crime, and then he finds a woman, he falls in love, and he goes to his parents' gravesite and says, I need things to be different now. Do you guys remember this?
Yeah,
And
like he's like apologizing to his parents because it's like, I can't go on if I want to do this. Yeah.
And in that moment, see, if you think about any other live action Batman movie, I mean, how many times have we seen the Wayne parents get killed?
Right.
It's cliche now. I mean, they almost dare not film it again because people will start laughing. How many times can you see pearls fall into the puddles? Okay. Yeah. But what we take from that is that this enrages Batman. This makes him want revenge on crime itself. And this is what drives him. But what's weird is the more I've thought about it, the more it kind of makes Batman a little bit boring. Because you can just be enraged all the time. But that's the reason why an Incredible Hulk movie is never really done well.
Right.
Yeah.
It's kind of tiring, you want him to feel something else. But in Mask of the Phantasm, we finally got to see Batman be Batman, not because he's enraged all the time, but because he actually sees it as a true responsibility to his parents and to the city that's raised him. And then finally he sees something that makes him want to blink, that makes him want to try, seeing what normal life is really about. And he can't do it. He can't put the responsibility down. It's just too huge. I mean, did we ever really think Bruce Wayne liked being Bruce Wayne? Batman was what he was made for. Bruce Wayne's almost like, that's the day job that he hates. He wishes he could just cut loose and then smack around some weird guys, right? But finally you see him being like, no, I want to be a normal guy. I hate this. It's costing me, but I can't put it away. I remember really being moved by that. And it was a cartoon.
Yeah.
And that's some powerful storytelling, and that really stuck with me. So
that was an offshot of the animated series, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And let me tell you, they did such a fantastic job with that, because Batman Begins tried to do it, they failed. Michael Keaton kinda, but not really. But the animated series was the only one that made Bruce Wayne a different type of character than Batman and himself. And you could see he was a smiling, he was a gentle guy. He wasn't just a playboy, but he played that mask so well. What was it? Kevin Conroy, who played Batman, made the statement. He said when he came to realize playing Batman that Bruce Wayne was the mask and not Batman, that helped him to come into that character a lot more. And that series really brought it out. I think what I liked about that is Batman actually smiled sometimes. And that kind of showed him as more human than anything I've seen. I'm kind of getting tired of the grizzly Batman myself. So.
Yeah.
That series also came out with other good stuff. They also did Sub-Zero there. That's my favorite like Batman animated adaptation too. Because well, I like Freeze, but Sub-Zero was it's a movie that you don't need to know a lot about Batman to see it and be like, that's a good movie. Because it works by itself as well. It closes by itself.
Say it again. I'm sorry, I missed which.
Sub-Zero.
Oh, okay.
Freeze when you get to know about him, what happened with him, and just to make it even better, like the movie finishes, and you see that everybody thinks he's dead, and they say like, no, his wife could be safe, but he would never see that happening. But at the end, he actually saw it on the TV, like from outside his shack, and he starts crying. And then you realize that he wasn't a villain, and you really, really sympathize with him. For me, I really like that movie because it's not about Batman; it's about Freeze, and I thought that was great.
I think that series actually was fleshed out Mr. Freeze that way, because I don't think that was a arc before, was it? Anybody know about Freeze? I remember him on the '60s show. He wasn't really, fleshed out that way, but I think the animated series really fleshed him out.
Yes, I really like that. That he's my favorite Batman villain because he's like, I'm not doing this because I'm crazy or I just want money. I'm doing it because I love and I want to save the one I love. I really like this kind of honorable character. That's kind of my gig. So to say that he having his own movie, not to mention that before that I knew Schwarzenegger so for me was great. Like, hey, the bunny slippers are not there, and I think it's great.
Wasn't Mr. Freeze in the pilot episode of the animated series? Wasn't he the first villain? Could be wrong.
He was definitely in there. I don't know if he's the first one.
I think it was actually. I think it might have been. I'm not positive because sometimes on those DVDs and everything they kind of have them out of order. But I think it was the Mad Hatter, and the one where Batman kind of realized he was in a dream because he tried to read and he couldn't read.
Yeah.
But the more we talk about it, it's amazing how much depth that series had.
That was good. It was way deep.
Yeah.
Even one episode characters were really interesting.
Mm-hmm. Which, in my mind, is really when animation is hitting on all. Like, okay, I wasn't gonna do this. You know how I've told you guys before. I got into comics because of the G.I. Joe comic.
Yeah.
But the thing that almost got me back out again was the G.I. Joe animated show because I hated it.
I hated those moral messages at the end.
Yeah. Knowing is half the battle. And I keep wanting to say, well, no wonder you keep losing. You need to. But anyway,
remember, kids.
Guns are bad, but we use them on every episode. Like, okay.
Unless you shoot over their heads.
Right.
Nothing but warning shots.
Yep.
Yeah. What bugged me about the show is even as a kid, I remember thinking they're marketing to me. I want them to market to the adult version of me.
Yeah.
Because I knew enough to know what a good story looked like, and I knew enough to know when they were pandering to me. So when the characters are yelling, "Yo, Joe," I'm like, who are you even talking to, dude?
Yeah.
That makes no sense at all. It just rhymes. Right. So, by that whole scene. But I remember when the Batman cartoon came on, I was like, wait a minute, this is different. It's like I'm seeing animators who are not trying to sell me anything except the idea of a good character in the middle of a great plot. And that they didn't have to do anything else. They had me from day one.
Yeah. Yeah. Does anybody remember, this is from almost 20 years ago, Homestar Runner?
Oh, yeah. The birth of the internet.
Yeah, you remember there was this spin-off, they did the Cheat Commandos. You remember the Cheat? He was Strong Bad's little sidekick, that little weird yellow guy.
Yeah.
And it was his own made-up stories, Cheat Commandos, and it was a total rip-off of G.I. Joe. It's hilarious. And their theme music was buy all our play sets and toys.
No way. I don't think that one got here because I don't remember.
It was
Got to be out there somewhere.
Probably because they wouldn't bring the toys over.
Yeah, well, no, they didn't make real toys. It was the whole gag because it was supposed to be a cartoon to sell toys. It was a gag on that, and yeah, this was early 2000s Flash animation, and it was a pretty good web series because it would play on itself, but pretty hilarious. The cheap, but then the other hilarious early YouTube was when people would redub those public services, the G.I. Joe public services.
Yes, I'm a computer. Roast beef sandwiches.
Who's the guy with the water mask? I'm sorry. He just.
That just reminds me of C-Lab 2021.
Oh,
Yep.
C-Lab 2021 was pure gold.
Mhm.
They redubbed that. That was a one season show, Hanna-Barbera.
Yeah.
And
then was it?
And then Adult Swim got a hold of it.
Yeah. Then Adult Swim got the rights to all the Hanna-Barbera animation, but none of the voices.
And they would just animate. It was funny because there was one episode where they went into a room and it was like what was it? Stock animation was it was like a storage room for animation. So
Yep.
yeah, all the voices.
And then he got Space Coast Coast to Coast.
Yes.
Yeah, it's like it's chopped up a show and then dubbed in a talk show over it.
Yep.
I mean, I grew up knowing that was the only thing. Like, I
Yeah.
had no idea it was a show.
It was a show, yeah.
I was like,
That's how
why are they
I want to explain to people that like Harvey Birdman was an actual like adventure show.
Oh golly, Happy Bird.
Isn't that streaming anymore?
Pure gold. I'm sure it is.
I'm not sure.
It's got to be out there.
Yeah.
On the interweb.
Huh. Have you guys heard of Twisted Toy Fair Theater? Do you remember that?
No.
It was basically, I think it was the guys who did Robot Chicken, but their Toy Fair was a magazine, and they'd take they just take a bunch of like Mego action figures, all different kinds, and just pose them and then put word balloons and tell a story. And it was so funny, I couldn't get over it. And now it sounds like there's an animated version of it. So I'm like,
Huh.
dude.
Nice. Let me think of another adaptation.
What would we do without the internet? My goodness.
What? Yeah. Man. Ugh.
Remember when we actually had to go to the library?
Yeah. You still find a book by those cards? You know?
Mhm. And you're the one kid who checks out a comic book and the attendant looks at you like,
Yeah.
"Are you sure you're in the right place?"
Right.
Actually, I take it back. Libraries are wonderful places. Please go and support your local
Amen to
library.
that.
Do it.
The library.
Yeah,
I
you
think
still
it's
get funny looks for checking out comic books.
You will, but do it.
I think I got one right here from the library. See?
That's pretty good.
And they looked at me funny when I got it. So, not a real book.
Yeah, I just reserved the books and then didn't really have to talk to a person. Like,
All right, perfect.
grab
I
it and
reserve
go.
them. I reserve them, but then they hand them to me, and I'm like, mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Human interactions.
I haven't been in the library in a long. It's like I forget about the library. I feel bad. Like when I remember. Oh, the library! What a magical, wonderful place. And then I'm good for a while, and then I forget it's there. And then a year goes by, and then oh, yeah, the library.
That's because it disappears when you leave.
Yeah.
As soon as you turn it back, it's not there anymore.
Yeah.
I'm always scared of a new library. When I was in the Coast Guard, I'd move and you find the new library. You walk in, you don't know what anything is, and it's like you feel like everyone in the library already knows, and they all look up at you, and they all look up with that knowing look, like you don't know your way around. It's like a gym or anything like that. You walk around.
What's this do?
It's the government-sponsored room of requirement, isn't it?
Yeah.
Whenever you need it, and
What's I over in like Oregon, everything's neo-Victorian, neo-classical architecture. So like random turrets on all the buildings. glass windows. So like Portland, Salem State Libraries doesn't used to. Went down to Orlando, and if anyone's ever been to like the Orlando Library, it just looks like a monolith out of Dune or something.
Okay.
I was like, what is this place? Why is it a giant black box?
Yeah.
And
Well,
my
that's
knowledge-
I assume the one you went to is the one downtown, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, I think you have to pay to park, which is
it's
like
the worst.
the entire
Yeah.
purpose of the library, people. Come on.
Yeah, my knowledge of Portland is all from Portlandia. That's
Put a bird on it.
Yep. The bookstore, the coffee shop episode, and the Battlestar Galactica episode. That's old Portland.
put a bird on.
The tattoo ink never runs dry.
I love that show. Yes. Okay, people. All right, it's my job
I
to
have a
rein this.
question.
What? Oh, go. Okay. Whew. Go
So
ahead.
we're talking about we're talking about like comic books turning into comics. But what about those? No, hold on. Comics that turn into animated
Yes.
series or movies. What about those that started as a movie or series and then became comic book? I was thinking about Star Wars for some reason, and now I remember it was first a movie and then books and comics came out. You guys would like.
We have a very strict set of rules for Wednesday Wham. You will follow them. Do not.
Where's the kick button?
Really? Where is this Wednesday Wham you're talking about?
Have you not read the rules for our show?
Man, this is really weird.
my
The my internet cut out again, so everyone's camera's frozen.
Oh,
There it goes.
I can hear everybody.
There you go. Yeah, I could hear everyone. It's just everyone was static.
If you want to talk about those, we're not going to stop you. I know nothing about them. I've said many times I only have so much brain power. Like with the movie world, the comic book movie world, I had to just stick with the Marvel Cinematic Universe. With Star Trek and Star Wars, I love them both. I love Star Trek. I can't get into the books. I can't get into. I just don't have the power, the brain power, or the time. So go for it. Did you want to talk about those, or are you just bringing?
No, I was just wondering because like vice versa. Because everybody, it's easier to say I can see the series is good, but I prefer the comic or I prefer the book. And I was thinking, like, well, what about when they make a comic out of something that's visual, and you guys realize like, no, the series is better. I don't know if you guys had an opinion about it, and now I think of it. But for example, some toys were meant to be sold, and I hope you guys don't mind. I jump into it, but Transformers started as toys, and then they turn into a series, and then they turn into comics that are like very underground, but apparently are way more popular than most of the series.
Yeah.
I was just thinking about like this. It's just like the different translation from one medium to the other, and how to define that which is better or why not.
Well, I talked about this before, but that's how I feel with Star Wars, and I know there's a collection of other Star Wars fans who the movies are great. The books are where stories really exist now, and out of the Disney content, the comics are the only thing to be considered real. We don't watch any of the Disney movies. Yeah.
Forgot about that. Thanks, Disney.
But the comics for Star Wars, for the new continuity, have actually all been pretty decent. So even though the movies have not been the best, the comics have all been really enjoyable to read.
I tell you, they're supposed to be making a Vader series or something. I think I heard.
They've had a couple different Vader comics, and they've all been really good.
Oh, that last one that Marvel did was fantastic.
That's so
the
good.
one where it's like after Revenge of the Sith, and he's kind of hunting down the rest of the Jedi.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And he
I've always wanted to know about that. Like,
Yeah.
and the whole process of everything.
he gets scared that he'll never be challenged again, so he gets Grand Moff. I'm not saying it right. Grand Moff Tarkin.
Grand Moff Tarkin.
Thank you.
Yep.
And gets him to hunt him down.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was a really good series.
Yeah.
More than once I've been thinking about getting into the comics, but also there's so many I get kind of intimidated, and I kind of step back. It's too much. It's a lot to read.
Yeah.
Yeah. Problems. Too much need,
Too much.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Silverline Wednesday Night Wham, hosted by Scott Wakefield. I was just telling the chaps about how I went full nerd on the WandaVision trailer. If you look at the wine bottle, you'll notice that the name translates roughly to House of Misery or House of M. So, guys.
Nerd alert.
So is that what it is? It's the House of M. They're going to.
We might.
Oh. Wait, no, never mind.
We have plenty of room for nerdery here. This is why we are here. Welcome back. Thank you for staying with us. I hope you enjoyed Wayne's review there. Thank you. Thank you, Wayne, for those. Those are awesome. They add a little variety. Give us this a moment to make potty breaks if we need to. I am Scott Wakefield. I am your host. Brent and Haley. I'm sorry. Yes. Had to go to bed. They were tired. Day jobs and so forth. We're going to round out this hour with more discussion about how comic books, good comic books, examples of good and bad that have been turned into animation, either cartoon series or movies. We've talked quite a bit at length about Batman, the animated series, because that is just about, I think all of us agree, and if you disagree, you're dumb. No, about get out. Batman, the animated series, being the pinnacle of cartoons turned into an animated story that checks so many boxes of good, of story and characters and animation and plot and all this sort of stuff, and giving us all the feels that we expect from good storytelling. We spent a lot of time on Batman. We talked about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, 80s and later, and spin-offs. We talked a little about Green Lantern and some of the very short-lived animated series that have happened, 1 year and so forth, or the Super Friends that lasted for 13 years, which is pretty incredible. Before we get too far into this, if you're just joining us, thank you for joining us. I'm going to reiterate, we are currently running a Kickstarter campaign that is Silverline has a double feature on Kickstarter right now. We have, I think, 10 days left on this, and we would love your support. If you have supported and backed that project, those projects, plural, thank you very much. We are a small independent publisher of comic books and great stories. We like to use the word genre spanning, because we've got great stories that from sci-fi to action to fantasy, and we are doubling up our stories because we have so many great stories to get out. And right now we have Cat and Mouse number 3, which is a continuation of the action adventure crime fighting story of two characters, Cat and Mouse, in New Orleans, who are wrapped up, embroiled in the seedy goings on of human trafficking in that city and fighting crime there. And then we have a new title called Trumps, and that is a 48-pager, a whopper of a comic book that has it's a sci-fi kind of a sci-fi superhero story taking place on another world that 4 kingdoms. They've matched the 4 suits of a deck of cards, and they are vying for power. And the deck gets reshuffled, and one suit comes to power, and the others have to deal with the ramifications of that suit being in power, either vying for power or allowing others to battle. And we have one remaining artist with us tonight. Sid did the coloring. You can wave hello, Sid. She did the colors for that, beautiful colors, and she was really cool because she was kind of given a lot of leeway to do as she pleased and to add her personal vision. She wasn't told this shall be this and that shall be that. And she did some really cool
lot
stuff.
of power.
Yes, she did. She was mad with the power. went crazy, and she did some really neat stuff. And it's got a lot of cool colors. I'm blown away by the art. I keep repeating this. Blown away by the art of Thomas Hedglund II, Tommy Flormonti's inks, and Sid's colors on this. amazing art, a really cool interpretation, and it's something very different, which is what the independent world can bring you. We aren't stuck to the honchos and being picked apart by committee. We make cool stuff. And
You're right. Who's this Batman thing everybody talks about? This is trash.
Marvel Schmarvel. We are independent press, independent publisher, and for those of you out there supporting us, we couldn't be here without you. We appreciate you, and spread the word, share these videos, share our Kickstarter campaign. And I will reiterate, backing the Kickstarter campaign is just buying your comic book. They are complete books. You are pre-ordering your comic book, and when this campaign's done, Kablam will click print and start making comic books for you to be in your hands within a few weeks. So thank you. All right, we are down to Tim TK, Royal O'Boyle, Rory Boyle, C. Michael Lanning, and Sid Van Blue. She's taking her name right. Her name's long. Sid.
Oh yeah, you wanna hear my full name?
Oh yes.
Isadora Venturini Blue.
What?
Yes.
No, I already said it.
No.
you get it once. That's it, folks.
Wait, say it again. Put on subtitles.
It grows too much energy, guys. 11.
Why does he get teletext?
Question marks across the bottom of the screen.
Some differences.
Italicized for accent.
We were watching a Japanese animation thing on, I think it was Netflix, my kids and I, and they were all good stories, that kind of odd Japanese, like, but they were good. And most of them were dubbed, but then with subtitles, and the subtitles were on there, and I didn't turn them off. But then at one point in the brackets, it just says speaks Japanese. Oh,
that's okay. Great. That's great.
Yeah.
It's like, well, duh.
Look, I'm not an expert, but I think I knew that.
So, Sid has done some great work on Trump. She's down there south of the equator. Thank you for.
Thank you.
We are watching.
Do you guys like
watching right now? Is this C. Michael?
Yes, watching C. Michael.
And he is drawing what right now, sir?
This is page 9 for upcoming project Rejects, about some the superheroes that you don't want, but sometimes you have to get. So,
all right, that will be coming sometime soon from Silverline, and so if you're watching this show, you get to see the sneak peeks, which is a lot of fun. You get to see the process, and
yeah, I think only with any indie comics will you get that.
Yeah, you're not going to see stuff like you won't see the process elsewhere. And so you are the VIPs here tonight. Thank you for joining us. We are talking, as I mentioned, about comic books that have been adapted into animation. And Sid, you said something while we were during the break there about how you didn't realize that so many of the stories you loved were actually comic books originally, right?
Yeah, because I am a 90s kid, and by then animation was like a huge boom. Digital animation was coming up, so everything was getting animation. Anime was like a whole wave into the West. So for me, everything was cartoons. For me, I assume everything was originally cartoons, and that happened with a lot of superheroes. That happened with just characters in general that came from books and so on. I had no idea El Zorro was a comic book either, just to say something. And one of them is X-Men. I was convinced that X-Men was just cartoons and some live action movie with Hugh Jackman. So that would be an example. Later on, I will learn the word comics and such.
It is funny that you got how you get introduced to it, and everybody has a different a way that they got into it. And I honestly didn't read. I'm an 80s and 90s child, born in the early 80s. So Ninja Turtles, yes, but the X-Men comic, I didn't read a lot of the comic book growing up. I was an Avengers fan and an Iron Man fan, and but that cartoon was really one of the first. And correct me if I'm wrong, and all of you out there in World Wide Web world,
We will.
Get ready for the comments.
X-Men was one of the first Saturday morning cartoons that wasn't one and done. Every episode wasn't wrapped up, and because it always was previously on X-Men, and they'd tell you what happened, and not a lot, because that's the biggest reason for any show, any sitcom, any drama is syndication. Because once it's syndicated, it gets jumbled up, and they're not going to show them in order, and if people don't see them in order, they're confused. So any to be continued or any cliffhanger on a season finale, it's tough. And for people, and if you're young out there and you don't even know what I'm talking about with network television, broadcast television, if you missed an episode of X-Men, I remember that's the show that I had to catch. I mean, I could miss DuckTales or Darkwing Duck because those didn't have any crossover, any tie-in. But X-Men, if I missed one, and I would see previously on X-Men, and they showed something I didn't see, when am I going to see it? How will I see? I will have to wait till I don't know when to see that episode that I missed.
Yeah, because they did it in story arcs.
Wait.
Yep.
Exactly.
Did you say it was a Saturday? Did you say it was a Saturday?
It was a Saturday morning cartoon. So,
luckily, though,
Very reason to get up in the morning.
Yeah. When I got into the X-Men cartoon, I was born in the right time frame, but I wasn't as hyper obsessive as I'm about it now until a little bit later. And by that point, I believe it was Fox Kids had essentially set.
Oh my God.
I know, right? Right? had set up the I forgot what the titling package is, but where they purchased it in its entirety, so they're essentially running it resyndicated with additional like reruns.
Yeah.
So you got that week's episode, but the half-hour block before that was last week's, and a half-hour block before that or after that, it was some other episode just pulled out of a hat. Yeah. So I was hard set on X-Men.
And then it got confusing later in the series when we got to like the time travel stuff, and you're like, oh wait, where are we?
Right.
That fourth season didn't really work out too well.
Yeah.
There's reason I only had like 9 episodes after that.
Yeah.
How many seasons did that show run?
I'd say like 5-ish, 6-ish. But the last one was very condensed because it was at the point where they're like, we need to end it.
Like
each season was
episodes?
I believe each season is about 12 or 13, kind of your average, and then the last season was like 9 or 6. Yeah.
Wow, I thought it was much longer.
Right?
Yeah, it feels like it was longer. There's so much content to it.
Yeah.
Very well done, and I'm not a huge X-Men fan, so Tim, you can correct me. I thought they stayed pretty true to the characters within
where I'm currently at in my life.
How did you get along, Scott? How did you get along?
They stayed pretty true to one
The
version
characters.
of the character.
Yeah.
When you have 40 or 50 years of a character to deal with, you can pick, and I know they mashed up this version of Cyclops with that version of Beast and Gambit. But I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, these are very true to the Jack Kirby uncanny setting of characters. They did play a little fast and loose with some things in the backstory, which I give them props for that for the animated show and the target audience. Most notably Magneto, who they decided to create another country embroiled in civil war instead of like, okay, how do we explain the Holocaust to a bunch of 12 Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah, but they handled very well, and I felt the way the characters interacted is all very true. The weird dynamic between Cyclops and Wolverine, as well as Wolverine's change over that. Because Wolverine starts in like his 70s persona, and then he ends the show in the persona that he had, like in that time in the comics run, and where he is a softer, kind of more amenable killer. Yeah.
He really embraced his Canadian.
Yep.
Yeah.
He was in denial before.
He didn't start apologizing with every kill, but
no,
it was,
sorry.
sorry.
Exactly. I want the run of Wolverine where he's fighting the War of 1812.
Oh yeah. Oh yes.
That'd be good.
And to our neighbors to the north, we love you. We love you dearly.
Most of you. One
you're
province.
Okay. You're cool.
It's X-Men, Batman, Ninja Turtles. You know what we have not talked about tonight? We have not talked about the horrible adaptations, and
there's too many of them.
Yeah, Brent mentioned G.I. Joe, but G.I. Joe started as an action figure, right? I mean, and then
the taller ones, like the bigger ones.
Yeah.
So what was the order? G.I. Joe action figures into comic books and then cartoon? Is that the
I thought it jumped right to cartoon.
evolution of the? I'm not sure.
Well, I'm not really sure because it's one of those things where it started riffing on itself. Where I don't know what came first, but then one would end, the other one would continue, and then they'd make a adaptation in the other format of where that one was. So they'd just be constantly like, this comic run is based off this season, and then they do another comic run, and then they make another TV show based off that comic run.
Right.
Yeah. So play back and forth, and then you got to the early 2000s, mid 2001, where the joke was every other episode Duke would die. Season 1 starts, Duke dies, ends with Duke coming back and then dying. Season 2, Duke comes back, dies halfway through. Yeah.
I never saw my G.I. Joe knowledge is the 80s cartoon, and yes, Brent let us know how displeased he was with it.
I remember there was an anime as well about it.
What's that?
Like a 2007 anime of G.I. Joe.
Oh, really?
Oh,
missed that.
It was, I mean, probably because it was so good that it didn't really mark anything. I just remember the character designs were pretty cool, but that's it. I really don't remember any about it.
Yeah. Just the
super
cartoon of everybody shooting some sort of laser gun and never hitting anybody ever.
Remember
they would kill.
They had every service guy in there except for the Coast Guard until too many people in the Coast Guard complained that they weren't being represented, so they had to throw one in. He was like the worst character.
Oh gee.
It was like a hovercraft pilot.
Yep.
I think that happens with most of series. If the series is not on the ocean or nearby the ocean, there's always a water character that can do anything.
Can't do anything.
Yep.
It's the Aquaman of the series.
Yeah, there's always something about water that's just like, no, buddy.
I think every movie that I've watched with the Coast Guard in it has something of the Coast Guard sinking or exploding.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Well, I referred. This is kind of off topic as well, but I referred this to Scott. Scott a while ago, but
Wakefield.
Oh, you're not gonna live that one, dude.
Hey, Squatty.
See, now Scott needs to share his squat PR with us. But there's a Burke called 16th Watch. What's his name? I forget his name. Sixth Watch.
Oh, you mentioned yes.
Yeah, but it's a book about the Coast Guard in space, and it's a Coast Guard. Yeah, so it's what happens once they do extraplanet colonization. It's not going to be the Navy that handles like planets like lifeboats. It's going to be the Coast Guard. So it's
law is a very strange thing.
So yeah, so it's Coast Guard search and rescue. In space, yeah.
Before there was Space Force, there was the Coast Guard.
That's right. Join the Space Force, the Space Force Reserve now.
Space Force. Has anyone seen?
Yep, a 16th watch by Mike Cole.
16 watch. Okay. The way they joke about the Coast Guard in Space Force is gold. Hilarious.
Yes.
Hilarious. Love it. I love my coastie brethren. Love you, Rory. But yeah, Space Force is something. No Coast Guard. How did we get here? Yes, G.I. Joe going in the Coast Guard.
Yep.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's good. Good. I like that.
Everything comes back to nautical. Everything comes back to the Coast Guard.
To the Coast Guard. Yeah, we had one of my boot camp training. They were talking about like if you were to walk into a room and all the branches were there, and you'd have clusters of of course they'd all cluster up. You'd have Army over here, and they'd all Marines. They'd all be talking about certain things. If you walked over and just listened to the Army, they'd be talking about like infantry and guns and
Rangers lead the way.
Right, and if you went and talked to the Marine, listen to the Marine. Blowing stuff up, and if you went and listened to the Navy, they'd be talking about big ships in the high seas, and then listen to the Coast Guard, and they'd be talking about the rescues through plowing through the surf and jumping out of helicopters. And he said, you walk over, listen to the Air Force, and what are they talking about? And he goes,
That is absolutely true, and we have an infiltrator.
Yeah. Tommy.
Oh, Tommy, you here?
What do you mean?
Wow.
I've been here.
Oh.
What are you guys talking about? Kim, we're supposed to come on at 10:30, right?
I just clicked my arrow over. There you are, Tommy. Introduce yourself, sir. Where you been?
My name is Thomas Floramonte. I'm working on the Trump's book, the Kickstarter over at the thing. I don't know what you guys have talked about for the past hour and a half. I was on another podcast pimping the Kickstarter, and I thought I would jump in to be with my brothers and sisters on the Wednesday Wham.
We missed you. We were just talking about you the whole time.
I appreciate that. Can we start over again from the beginning? How do we start this?
Oh, wait a minute.
Tommy, so
Wednesday Wham, 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 wham. We're supposed to do all.
Tommy's our ambulance come to save us.
How cool!
We need a sound box for the show.
Tommy,
when you arrive, we just click, boom.
We have talked about Ninja Turtles, Batman, X-Men, the animated series, both of them the animated series.
Hulk Batman.
About how the G.I. Joe cartoon is laughable. That was Brent. We have talked about Green Lantern and very short-lived cartoon series. We have really, like, the 80s has been out as far back as we've gone. I was going to talk about some of the Fleischer Superman from the 40s, and we talked a little bit about Super Friends.
That's beautiful.
Really been talking about comics we've loved. We haven't spent a lot of time, other than G.I. Joe, talking about the bad stuff. So what is your favorite comic book based animated series or movie? We talked a lot about the Batman, the animated series, and then the movies that came off of it, which are really great cinema, really amazing stories. So
my favorite, and this is, I don't know, we can kind of consider it a comic booky kind of thing, but don't laugh. Some of my earliest animated stuff that I like is the Peanuts. Does that count?
Yes.
Yeah. It was a strip. It was a comic book, and then they made it animated, TV shows and stuff. Does that count? Can I? Should I leave now? Did I bring everybody down? Okay, I'm gone. Bye. Love you guys. Keep your hands clean. I'm out of here.
Hey, you don't get out that
if you
easy.
saw that CGI movie they did.
I never saw that one, believe it or not. But
really,
I gotta say, I highly recommend it because at first I was very iffy because I don't know how they're gonna make this CGI. I'm really iffy about it. And then you watch it, and it's purely Peanuts material, but like even more, it gives you even more feels.
But no, I've always loved the Peanuts. Like the Halloween episode and the Christmas and all the stuff, all that animated stuff. But yep.
I had one when I was a kid. We had a Peanuts movie. They go to France. Does anyone remember that one?
No.
Peanuts goes to France. Charlie Brown that goes to France.
Yeah, and of course Charlie Brown bungles things. And I remember he brings a baguette out, and they the car won't start, but then they.
Okay, I'm looking this up.
Snoopy slams the hood on the baguette, and the car starts. And Snoopy drives, of course, and he's being rude to other drivers, and they're being rude to him. And I just remember I had it on VHS when I was a kid.
Wait, was Charlie Brown wearing like the black and white striped shirt with the beret?
I just had this breaking news. It was called Bon Voyage. Charlie
It sure
Brown.
is. Yeah, I'm looking at it right now.
My wife came in to tell me, so I guess she's seen it. So.
Oh man, you know,
Voyage.
I've got like the complete set of all the animation stuff, and I don't remember this being in there. You sure this is not some bootleg Charlie Brown show?
1980, Bon Voyage, Charlie Brown.
Yeah, I'm looking at it. Yeah, sure.
Is there a black market for Peanuts movies?
There might be.
It's the deepest underground.
All right.
Oh my goodness.
That's it. Wow, it's all just coming back to me, my childhood. I'm gonna have to watch that. 76 minutes long.
Bon Voyage, Charlie Brown. Yeah, it's got it sure is. How about that?
Good stuff. Yeah, so that fits Tommy perfect example. What about we have not what is a least favorite, Tommy? What didn't meet your expectations for a good adaptation of a comic book in an animation?
Oh, give me a minute.
Okay. Well, did anybody else remember the 1940s the Fleischer Superman, the bum ba bum ba he'd jump over the building and faster than a speeding bullet. Does anyone else remember those?
Oh yeah.
It was set in the 40s or it was made in the 40s?
Made in the very 1940s style animation.
Very simple.
I actually remember because you used to get the VHS tapes.
Yep.
And they'd have all those different old cartoons on it, like what was Little Lulu and Felix the Cat, and it would have the Fleischer Superman on it.
Yeah.
So and that was a big thing in the late 80s and early 90s is those VHS tapes that you find for like what $5 or something like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I remember it.
Those preceded movies. I just learned that. I looked that up recently because we had same thing. We had a box set of classic cartoons, and it had all those Supermans on there, and those would precede a feature-length movie in the theater. So those are the great animation. A little bit of World War II propaganda. Okay, but good.
But animation-wise, they're beautiful.
They really are, and they have those kind of the muted tones and the stylized Superman of the 1940s. And I think every episode, Lois Lane picks up the phone and it's a scoop, and she goes out. And he's like, "Oh, Lois!" He has to say
and then like, good job on the note, Louis. Oh, it wasn't me. It was Superman. Miles.
Was that before the George Reeves Superman, or was he modeled on the George Reeves Superman?
George Reed was. That's a good.
Wasn't George Reeves was the first live action Superman, right?
Yeah, the first live action. Right?
Yeah.
What?
Because he kind of has that classic. George Reeves has that. The silver and black, and he's kind of. Superman got to be 60 years old and started fighting crime, kind of.
So let's see. That was.
Here's one that sounds kind of crazy. There's one called Fred and Barney Meet the Thing. Have y'all seen that one? It's a Flintstones Fantastic Four crossover kind of thing. Yeah, golly, it looks crazy.
And it turned out to be the best Fantastic Four adaptation ever.
Probably so.
More than the
Came out in 79.
Wow.
Oh, look, they got another bit. The new Fantastic Four they're saying is one of the stinkers also on this list. Yeah, I'm just trying to.
But the movie or animated?
The animated one, I guess, the cartoon.
It's so hard to
I
tell with
remember that, the
Fantastic Four
latest
because
cartoon.
Oh, but yeah, this can't be any good because it's got Teen Titans Go on here as a bad one. I used to kind of like the Teen Titans.
Well, is that
animated.
Teen Titans Go is the new one, I believe.
Yes, yeah.
The old
Oh,
one's
it's
just
a-
Teen
Thing
Titans.
is that- thing is that-
2013, I
Yeah.
guess so.
Yeah.
The thing is that most of the reviews of the Teen Titans Go is from the whole group of people who watched the first Teen Titans series. That it's just completely different. So this thing comes up, and they're like, "Why are you spending money on this thing instead of finishing the other series? That was great."
Yeah.
And I think that's why most of the reviews are, because I think I've seen a couple of those episodes, little short things they do. They're really funny. But yeah, if you ask me, I would prefer to finish them to finish the series rather than making this kind of parody about everything. My favorite episodes about them is when, like, more than once they would do this Batman making like a sleepover with Gordon, and they would go to the Batcave and they would just use the camera system and just watch over everybody else around. Like I thought that was really funny. But yeah, people don't like the show because it was like
that's why I was
you're
asking you about
Titans,
that.
but not the Teen Titans we want.
That's why I was asking you about that Thundercats one, because they have a Thundercats now that's like that has that goofball humor. So
I don't know what to think about it. But, I haven't seen it. I don't think I'm gonna.
So to answer your question, George Reeves was Superman from 52 to 58. So he was about a decade after the Fleischer cartoon Superman.
Okay.
And that was the same studio, right, that did Popeye, right? Fleischer?
I have no idea. Really? They look like way too far apart from each other.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
But I don't know. I don't want to Google
I'll have to look that up. There's a lot of stuff. Popeye.
Wait, was Fleischer the same one that did like the dots that we talked about a few weeks ago? Like the art just composed of dots.
I do not know. It was Betty Boop, Gulliver's Travels from 1939. That very animated Gulliver's Travels, like very detailed. That was kind of an odd. It's interesting to look back at these. Yeah, Popeye, Superman. Yeah, old cartoons are very pre studio standards ratings. Old cartoons are interesting from the 30s. A lot of odd stuff. They didn't
They were
have
experimenting.
Yeah.
They were experimenting. That's what I was going to say. They didn't have rules. And I'm pretty sure that after those animations, there were started some rules like, you know what, maybe we shouldn't do this for kids. Yeah.
Right.
You know, maybe we shouldn't take LSD. And...
Yeah.
Not that it's a cartoon, but there's an old I think it's Charlie Chaplin, or it might be I think it's Charlie Chaplin. He's a cop, and he gets into a scuffle, and he's trying to defend a woman, and they get tumbled down into this like basement, and it's like an opium den or whatever, and a guy is shooting at, and he sets the needle down, and then Charlie gets punched backwards onto the needle. And it's like Popeye spinach power for him. And he comes back up.
Oh my god!
I gotta look that up, but because it's like the needle's like boing,
Opioids are a hell of a drug.
Yeah,
it's like that.
You know, back in the days when the world was black and white.
Yep. There was no color till the 60s.
Right.
Yeah.
There's a weird Betty Boop episode too, where she's in the
every episode is
and the ringleader guy's like, you know, that gigantic fat with a hat guy, and he's all creeping on her. So like cringy from the 30s. He's running his hands up and down her arms, and there's like a clown watching through the curtain, and he gets all mad. And of course, you know, I think every cartoon devolves into punching. from the 30s, 40s, 50s.
And then just a big cloud because they don't want to animate everything going on.
The arms and the legs, and they have, when they get punched into like the stratosphere or something like that. Yeah, good.
You guys remember that Disney short? It's Donald Duck. It's Donald, and he's working at a Hitlerian factory, and they make fun of Hitler, and it's just Donald in his factory, and they're showing every time he sees a picture of him, he has to go fight Hitler all the time, and it's just I don't know if they're making a parody or a tribute, but this is weird and crazy, and I don't really know what message to take.
There's a weird thing with Donald that Disney's been up about, but supposedly Donald's deep lore is he was a factory worker in like 1930s America. The war breaks out. He enlists in the Navy, and during that time, his wife dies. He comes back, and that's why he's just a curmudgeon. He's PTSD'd and a widower.
No worries. Yeah.
No one explains why. Who are Huey, Dewey, and Louie's parents? Right. And
right.
This is sisters.
Yeah, it's supposed to be like his wife and like I guess the wife, that family like passed away, so he ends up taking the kids, and when he comes back from the war,
they dump them on Uncle Scrooge.
Yeah, that gets deep. Yeah, that is some writer and animator who is dealing with PTSD.
Yeah.
Man.
I mean, it's like Jack. That's what Jack Kirby is doing. He's like, I'm really pissed off right now. I'm going to make Captain America.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Okay,
I'll never look at that duck.
We divulged again.
that duck fought for freedoms.
I'm going to start wrapping this up. Tommy, you are our most recent person to join. Do you have any parting thoughts before I start shutting this craziness down?
No.
Okay.
This is my third podcast for our stream for the day. I worked at Kablam, so I just wanted to drop in and tell everybody. You brought up all of the Kickstarter stuff, I'm sure. So
where can people go find you? Where were you on today? You were tell us what podcast.
I just got done with one called Geekgasm, where you set them up.
Indie Volt, and they have multiple episodes. They're on a lot. Indie Volt. So
that was pretty fun. It was pretty fun. Thomas, and I did the other Thomas, the penciler on the Trump's book. We did. We just got off of that one, and that was pretty fun. It was. I mean, you guys are a lot. You're my family, so that was fun. I had a good time.
They've got a good crew over there, and they've been really supportive of us. So thank you guys at Indie Volt. We appreciate you. And if you are watching this, go check their show out. Go support them. And we are a big independent creator family. So support them. The indie world needs you, and the more you support all of this, we all grow, and we keep creating new, unique content for you guys. So thank you for joining us. We're going to sign off here by saying good night, and where we can be found, and how you can support us individually, and then support Silverline. I'll pitch Silverline right at the end before we wrap up. Tommy, why don't you say goodnight and tell folks where they can find you? Don't forget to tell them that you have a printing company called Kablam and so forth. Okay, go ahead.
Kablam. Yep, I'm co-owner of Kablam. We are a digital printer for comic book and comic book related stuff, posters, just anything to do with the comic books. We print most of all of the Silverline. Well, I think we print all of the Silverline stuff, and a good bit of everybody else's stuff too. But just look for Thomas Florimonte, Florimonte. I'm on everywhere. Just look for Florimonte. If you go to Facebook and you look up Tommy Florimonte, you will find about my family and me riding on my bike and trying to do tricks and jumps like I was a little kid. So don't go there. You want to go to Thomas Florimonte Jr., which is all the comic book stuff, unless you want to.
Sounds less entertaining.
Yeah, unless you want to hear about me arguing with my family and people talking politics and all that kind of stuff, stay away from the Tommy Flormonti part. Go to the Thomas Flormonti Jr. and you can find me. You can find me there.
All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Yep, C. Michael Lanning. You can find me on Facebook under C. Michael Lanning. Well, I know this is a shock. Also talking about Indie Vault, I'm going to be co-hosting with Rob Anderson on Comics Newswire Friday morning.
Cool.
So we'll see how that goes. And that also have a Twitter, which is C. Michael Lanning. Drop the G, add the 2, and that's send me a friend request. I'll probably send you an invite to my page because nobody wants to like the page, but they all want to send me friend invites. So I'll take it.
All right, thank you, sir. Sid, south of the equator.
Hold on, I'm gonna go more millennial with this. You can find me there on Instagram.
Cool.
There you go.
Fancy.
And that's my Twitter handle because I'm getting back to my social media now, more than just Instagram. And so I'm sharing both Twitter, Sid and Blue, or my Instagram, Sketch Sid. There you can find me. I do more than coloring, so you're gonna see a lot of sketching lately and stuff. That's exciting.
Yes, lots of cool art. I have followed you, lots of great stuff. A very talented artist. Thank you. Royal O'Boyle, Rory Boyle, Steam Patriots, go for it.
Hi, I'm Royal O'Boyle. You may recall me from such comics as Steam Patriots. You can find me and all the Steam Patriots goodness on the Gram and Facebook. And anywhere else you can find Scott.
All right. I'm gonna go second to last. I will be the penultimate closer. My name is Squat Wakefield. I am. It's the name they gave me at the gym.
Apparently, I missed something.
Squat McWakey.
No, it's got to change the wake to whey, like protein. Squat Wayfield.
Protein. My protein shake and blast out some mad squats. Okay, I have been your host. I am at Steam Patriots on Facebook and Instagram, and that title will be coming soon, hopefully from Silverline. And if you want to connect with me professionally, because I've been so professional tonight, I am on the LinkedIn. So go ahead and connect with me there. So that is me, Tim TK. Why don't you wrap up, and then I'll close this out with the sales pitch.
I am Tim TK. You can find me on pretty much everything at Tim TK Writer, except for TikTok, which is at Tim Doesn't TikTok. And my Twitch is AgroBacon, where I'll be live later tonight with some Destiny. I'm also on LinkedIn, but I don't really use it. Just look for the picture of a pug with a banana on its head.
Okay, thank you, Tim. And folks, thank you. We are currently running a crowdfunding campaign on Kickstarter. We have 2 titles. We've got Cat and Mouse #3 and Trumps #1, a 48-pager, colored by Thomas, or penciled by Thomas Hedglin the second. Yikes. Tommy Flormonti did the inks on that guy, and Sid Vemu has done the colors of
beautiful colors.
Beautiful.
I gotta say, we reached 100 backers.
Yeah, I know. Isn't that great?
That's exciting. That's awesome.
So you have supported us. Thank you, and we love that you watch our shows and you join in with the fun. If you have not,
here's the last page, Sid. I'm finishing it right now. There you go.
If you have not,
I'll get it done tomorrow.
We'd encourage you to do so. You are ordering your comic book, and you are saying, "I love independent comic books." And and we got a
it's so pretty.
Can you see it?
Yep.
Ooh, there we go. Gold. Ooh. Kickstarter exclusive for the Trumps book. Go get it.
exclusive cover. The Silverline world is growing. Our list of titles is growing. Hop on board, support Silverline, grab your exclusive content, and you can say you were here at the beginning and you were a Silverliner from the start. Folks, from all of us, thank you for your support. And we are going to say goodnight and make mine
Make mine
Silverline.
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 Ah!